What's up, everybody? We're back at it with another episode of Q and Cole. And we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Browns, what's going to happen with the rest of their season. Jake Browning. Is he about to get paid? Is he the new Josh Dobbs? Josh Dobbs throws 4 interceptions on Monday Night Football. Everybody get off that. We about to be on this Jake Browning nonsense. We about to too. You know he got all the intangibles. Pittsburgh or Cleveland, who would you rather be? Are the 49ers the best team in football? We're going to talk about some Cavs stuff. We're going to talk about some college football playoff stuff. We're going to talk about the Browns and Jags. We're going to talk about it all today on QnColb. Run the intro. All right, so we had a fun 3 weeks, man. When the Browns won, kept winning. We was like, yeah, man, 3 in a row, it don't matter. Browns are 7-5. Now, I think we all know it does not matter. Well, it does not really benefit the Browns to not make the playoffs because we don't own our first round pick, right? Like if this were a different situation, okay, maybe we can entertain it. So the Browns should do everything they can to try to make the playoffs within reason this year. Sure, why not? And for a franchise that's only been to the playoffs 2 times. Since reactivation, I don't feel like we are at the point to where we could be real nonchalant about not making the playoffs or about making the playoffs, right? But I do think there is a difference between making the playoffs and feeling like a playoff team. Cole, do you think there's anything that this Browns team can do that would make you feel like this is a playoff team? Like, for example, if they go on the road and beat the Texans, a playoff team, do you go in your mind and think, hey, we might beat somebody in the playoffs, right? Because that's what the feeling like a playoff team is. Like, is there something that can happen to make you feel like you can beat somebody? Keep in mind, the Browns get in with 10 wins, they're likely going to be the 6th or 5th seed. So it's not like they're going to play Kansas City.
Are you sure we don't want to play Kansas City right now?
Yeah, dog. Have you seen what Matt Stafford and Russell Wilson has done to us? Do you really want to play the boss?
hey, let's be real though. Let's be real. Them receivers not like that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be real. That. Matt Stafford and Russell Wilson ain't nothing like Pat Mahomes.
They both got better receivers.
Yeah, but Pat Mahomes got better play. Okay, let me tell you, who you taking? The receivers or Pat Mahomes right now? Tell me. No, ain't no way you thinking about this, dog. Ain't no way you thinking about
We've
this.
seen the Chiefs.
No,
look
stop
we've seen the Chiefs lose to, bro. Look at who we've seen the Chiefs lose to, dog.
We saw them with a similar wide receiver core last year with the Super Bowl. What are we doing? That
was last year.
With who at wide receiver? He was still throwing a Kadarius Toney. Like we act like we ain't watched this, man. Come on, Cole.
They do not look like the same team we saw last. Hey,
we say this every year about the Chiefs, dog. We've been saying this for like 3 years.
Bad, dog. You know what?
They are
it's
bad.
The thing about the old days. They the old days.
Here's the thing, Cole. Yeah, those wide receivers are bad right now. Right? Like, you know how this works with the Chiefs. Like, they look bad right now. And then all of a sudden we gonna be in January talking about, man, what a signing, Christian Watson or whoever the hell is gonna step up for them. Like, it's gonna be some bullshit. You know how it is. This always happens with the Chiefs. I don't know why people keep betting against it. I'm gonna bet on, yeah, man. I bet you probably don't want to play the Chiefs in Kansas City in the playoffs. I don't know about you. I'm gonna just make that bet. I feel pretty good about that bet.
What seed are they right now? Aren't they like the 4th seed right now?
Nah, they the 4th, 5th, 3rd. I don't know. They'll be at like 3, like 3 and 2. They might be at 1. I don't know. I'm over the overreactions on the Chiefs because we've done this so many times. I'm like, yeah, they do look vulnerable. And then at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, well, they got Pat Mahomes, so it don't really matter.
I watched them sell him out already, though. Like, hey,
they'll do that in the regular season. They did that last year.
Sold him out so bad, dog. I was like, no, I can't. I don't think I can believe in it. I ain't
I don't
seen
know.
so sold out like that before. Like, I don't know if I can believe in it, but we'll see. But back to what you were saying. Back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
The thing with the Browns is that it's like I want them to make the playoffs because, like you said, we don't make the playoffs a lot. And honestly, if we had all our guys, they probably actually really they would have had a real shot to make a run, I think, if they had everybody. I don't know if we would beat anybody, dog. I really don't. Like,
Well,
I really don't know if we could beat anybody.
I think we have to look at who could be in the playoffs, right? Like if we look at the playoff standings right now, the NFL playoff standings, it's not as daunting as you would think, right? Depending on whatever matchups that you get. And again,
We're
like
gonna be
this
a
is
wild
something.
card. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be a wild
Absolutely.
card. So
Absolutely. But let's say like the Colts catch up to the Jaguars, because right now the Jaguars are 8-4, the Colts are 7-5. If you end up in a 4-5 matchup with the Colts, you telling me you don't think that we could beat the Colts?
I would feel good about that.
You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that could factor in, right? If you're able to beat the Texans with whatever you have going on at quarterback, and we'll talk about it in just a second, then you'll be fine here. Kansas City, I mean, you seem to believe that we could beat Kansas City, but I
didn't say we beat them. I'm just saying I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds because they're just playing bad. But with our situation, Pat Mahomes gonna win somehow, some way. Quarterback to quarter. Like if we playing Joe Flacco versus Pat Mahomes, like
I'm telling you right now, Pat Mahomes gonna be in the AFC Championship game.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
You shouldn't. That shouldn't even be. We know this is happening. Spoiler: they're gonna be in it. If they get eliminated early, the Taylor Swift article is gonna be crazy. But this is not a Chiefs video right now. Like the Steelers, you would have to assume eventually that because they play like the Seahawks and they play the Colts, like they could be out of it real quick, and then the Texans are back in it. I don't know.
I think Mitch Trubisky, he doesn't move you.
No.
Mid Ohio legend don't move you.
Yeah. Well, this ain't high school football. If this was the OHSAA, I would believe in the brother. He's done work there. But if you ask me about what he's doing in the NFL, no, hell no. Come on. Have we not watched his movies? Like, it might be better than Kenny Pickett. Like, ooh, Kenny Pickett still has 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
All season?
All season.
The thing about Mitch is like he'll definitely throw more touchdowns, but he's also definitely gonna throw more interceptions.
Are we sure it's not like Kenny Pickett's not thrown a lot of them? Like, the only reason he doesn't throw a lot of them is because he just doesn't complete a ton of passes. Like 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Cool. 6 touchdowns. They keep finding ways to make Kenny Pickett seem like he's not terrible. And I'm like, y'all got to stop. He has an interception streak. He hasn't thrown an interception. I'm like, he ain't thrown a touchdown in how long? Like, what you mean? It's crazy the streaks they'll give you if they like your team, because it's nuts to me that we're even entertaining the Kenny Pickett could have ever.
It's fine with me. It's fine with me because he's gonna stay there. That is perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, but I don't know if I buy the whole Mitch Trubisky thing. They seem to think he's worse than Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett got less touchdown passes this year than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun's played 4 fucking games. Okay, like my bad, 5 games. 5 games that everybody argued were so mid that it was the worst trade of all time, right? Like that's what Deshaun Watson has done this year. Kenny Pickett ain't even done that in 12 starts.
We're not gonna do it.
If you want to talk themselves into it, have fun, dog.
We're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it.
Hey man, all I'm saying is they should have been the ones who traded for Josh Dobbs. Everybody talk about us like, oh man, what could Josh Dobbs have done for the Steelers? Like.
They needed the Pastronaut.
That's a terrible nickname.
Hey, man, they technically call him something else, but I didn't want to say that one.
I'm not about to say it either. I don't even know what it is, and I don't want to say it. You know who does need to say it? Dennis. I need him to get suspended off Twitter. Every time he gets suspended, we need Dennis to get suspended because every time he gets suspended, something spectacular happens for the Cleveland. You know what? Say that suspension for the Houston game. You know, a true upset. Like, say.
Hey, we might need it this week. I don't know.
I mean, home game. I want it on the road. We know how the defenses looked on the road. Man, let's talk about that. What's up with this defense on the road? They're a completely different defense.
Man, they go.
And it's not just like that they're not as good. They're legitimately bad. Like they've been bad in 3 games this year, all on the road.
They go from giving up like 10 points at home to giving up like 30 on the road. It's literally going from 85 Bears to what's the worst defense you can think of
the 2022 Browns.
2020. But they're worse than that. They're worse than that.
No, they're not worse than that. No, Colt. No. We gave up 200 yards rushing to the fucking Bills last year. All right. Devin Singletary tore us up. I'm sorry. No. Stop it.
Dog, it's worse than that. It's bad.
It's not worse than that. I promise you. It might feel worse than that. We gave up 40. Like consistently last year. Do you not remember? Cove, I feel like you're forgetting. No.
Hey, we might have to look it up. How much they give up last year?
How many points did they give up? I'm just gonna look through some of the games at the end of the season here. Right? Because at the end of that Jacoby Brissett thing, the wheels kind of fell off. Gave up 39 against the Dolphins. That was at Rock Hard Stadium or whatever they call it, Hard Rock Stadium.
Rock Hard Stadium. That's
my bad. That's my bad. Yeah, they gave up 38 points to the Patriots, dog.
Oh, Bill was cooking that game.
No. I'm sorry. At no point is this defense worse than what they were last year. McCorkle Jones, who couldn't get a point this week, okay, who lost the game 6-0. No, it was Zach Man. Either way, we played both of them and lost to both of them last year. All right. The Zach Man / McCorkle got 38. They couldn't win a game in which the Chargers only scored 2 field goals.
Joe Woods is a criminal.
6 points. Okay. No, I'm not about to entertain. This is worse than last year on the road. Nah, dog. It's not that bad, but it is reminiscent.
It's bad, dog. I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happens when they go on the road. Like, it's just like, this is not, and maybe Denzel not being out there the last 2 weeks is probably part of it. Probably a larger part than we would like to admit. But
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because honestly, the shit that's going wrong with the defense is that they're not getting pressure.
Which is weird.
Yeah, they're just not getting pressure, right? Like, guys aren't winning their one-on-ones. That's the issue right now. It was the issue against Seattle. It's the issue this week. It was the issue against Denver. You don't get pressure on a veteran quarterback and you run a lot of man coverage. It don't matter who you got covering. They're going to find somebody, right? Denzel Ward could have been out there. And yeah, Denzel Ward out there, maybe you give up 28 points instead of 36. But same problem still exists, right? Denzel Ward can't just be out there in coverage for 5 seconds. You let Russell Wilson have an average time to throw over 4 seconds. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing for Matt Stafford this week. It was the same thing for Geno Smith. We're not finishing plays. We're not making tackles in the backfield. Like, it's just, for whatever reason, we don't play clean football as a defense on the defensive line specifically. And when you don't do that, the holes in this defense start to expose themselves. And the holes in this defense is just structurally how you do things. When you run 70% man in the NFL, if you don't get there in 3 seconds, people gonna get cooked. I don't care how good those corners are. You got 3 Deion Sanders out there. They're gonna get cooked. Like, this league is not meant to survive on man. Like, for 4 seconds, nobody's covering it. There's too many advantages for the wide receiver. Like, think about if you're a quarter. You gotta anticipate where everybody going. All the wide receiver has to go fake right, go left. Boom, I'm open. That's it. I'm gonna just hit a double move. How many times have you seen somebody just get open in a one-on-one drill? That's basically what they're doing out there. And that's not an issue as long as you get pressure. But if you don't get pressure, this shit gonna start looking like an issue. And I don't know if it's the secondary's fault. Like, I think the secondary's just being left out there too long. You're not getting enough pressure. Like, you're not getting remotely. Like, Matt Stafford didn't even get sacked. Wasn't even bothered. Wasn't even harassed. Just got to do whatever he wanted. Find Puka Nacua whenever he wanted. Like, that's what it was. And that's what the issue is. This Browns defensive line gets pressure, they look all world. This Browns defensive line doesn't get pressure, this defense looks pretty bad. It's the heart of this team, right? That defensive line shows up, we're good. That defensive line doesn't show up, we're not. Like, show me a game where the defensive line has showed up and the corner sold them. Like, it ain't happening. It ain't never gonna happen. That's not how this team built. Like,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
So it's just what it is, right? Like, I think the one example I could probably point to in the opposite of my argument is a little bit of that Colts game, but it wasn't like everybody was showing up on that defensive line. It was just Miles. Like,
literally just Miles.
It was just Miles.
Literally just Miles.
And guess what? You won that game because Miles went off. Like, if something happens on the defensive line, you can do enough to win. But if nothing happens on that defense line, you ain't cooking. You ain't doing shit. Like, you ain't doing it. That's the heart and soul of this team. And that's why I'm concerned and not concerned about this defense at the same time. Look, man, the defensive line's going to have better games than that. For whatever reason, they tend to have these bad games on the road. I don't know why. Like, I feel like it's an energy thing. And that's a little concerning. Like, that feels like a red flag. If, like, we don't got great energy, we don't play good defense, that's terrible. But they'll have energy this week, right? They're at home. They'll have energy this week. It'll look better. We'll all forget it. We'll start lazing up the defense again, and then they'll probably beat the Bears at home too. And we'll see what they do against the Texans. If they beat CJ Stroud, then we're going to be to the moon, because then your last two games are against the Jets and the Bengals. Now, look, we all looking at that Jets game like, yeah, I can't wait till Tim Boyle come to town. But we might be looking at Jake Browning just a little differently after Monday Night Football. Jake Browning played out of his mind. Now, I will point out, hey, man, sometimes the Bengals tend to do this on Monday Night Football, because you remember White Vic?
Mm-hmm.
Against the Steelers, when that dude came and played the game of his life, didn't play a game after that. So this could just be a game. And I would also like to point out, he got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. This is why I was like, I wasn't so quick to write off the Bengals, because I'm like, hey, man, if a quarterback can step in anywhere, it'd be all right. Like, they have the tools to support such a thing. Now, at the beginning of this game, it looked like the Ohio State offense, right? Where they were just throwing screens and doing all that you know that they shouldn't be doing. But it seems like Zach Taylor is a better coach than Ryan Day, because eventually he said, you know what, we're going to throw this thing downfield. We're going to get this ball to Jamar Chase. We're going to get T. Higgins to press him. We're going to get this thing rolling. And it got rolling. Jake Browning had 353 yards passing.
Look, man. They was calling him Jake Burrow after the game. I was like, oh, that's so bad if you're a Jags fan. That's so bad.
It's rough.
That's rough. That's a rough one, dog. But
I would like to point out, Jake Browning was one of those guys that we said was definitely a better prospect than Kenny Pickett coming out of college, but didn't get selected where Kenny Pickett did.
Absolutely did say that.
And I'm going to put that in the right category for now. Like, pending review. But
him and DTR. But that's neither here nor there. I left that game like more concerned about the Jags than anything.
This is what I've been saying about.
Not even talking about injuries.
This is what I've been saying about the Jaguars. If you watch them closely, I'm not saying they frauds, but some of that account activity looks suspicious. Right? Like, I'm not saying you're a fraud. You get the notifications? But, you know, I do think you should check the account. Like, Am I wrong on this? Like, they play the Chiefs, they lose 17-9. Okay. Then they lose to the Texans, another team that we know is better than what people assumed at the time, 37-17. Okay. They beat up on the Falcons. They beat up on the Bills, who we thought was a good team at the time, but they all right? The Colts, they beat the Colts, who are a decent team. They beat the Saints. They beat Pittsburgh. Okay, you thinking, damn, they pretty good. Then they lose to the 49ers 34-3 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Beat up on the Titans. Beat the Texans barely. Now we back on this train. It's like, man, I feel like good teams can get them. If you just have a good unit on your team, you can get them. I don't like for all the talk that we do about the Jaguars, for a team that almost had the number 1 seed, what do they do well?
I mean, Josh Allen's pretty good.
Yeah, like, okay, Josh Allen's good. He's not like Micah Parsons, TJ. Like, he's not the type of player you can be like, yeah, that's what we got Miles. That's not who Josh Allen. He's a good player. But like, what's their identity? What do they do super well? Like, when you play all of these other teams in the playoff race, you know exactly what you need to be worried about without hesitation. Miami Dolphins, what you worried about?
Receivers, speed.
Mm-hmm. Obvious, right? Baltimore, what you worried about?
Lamar
Jackson, yes. Kansas City, what you worried about?
At
Mahomes, yes. Okay.
Oh, and Travis Kelce. Let's be fair. And Travis Kelce.
Right. Mahomes, my auto. You know what I mean? You worried about the State Farm duo. That's what you worried about. And then you have the other teams where, like Pittsburgh, you're worried about the defense?
You're worried about the pass rush.
You're worried about bullshit. That's what you're worried about with Pittsburgh. That is
Pittsburgh's. Let's be fair. You know what you're worried about? Mike Tomlin. That's what you worried about.
You worried about some bullshit. That's what you be worried about. It's like,
Mike
it's always
Tomlin.
some bullshit that pops up when you play the Steelers. Always. The Colts, similar. Like, Shane Steichen.
I can't. Yeah, Shane Steichen.
You worried about Shane Steichen? The Jaguars, what are you concerned about? Even the Browns, you're like, hey, they got their defense. They got Miles. Jaguars.
Can we say Doug Peterson?
No. Because what does he do? What does he do? What does Doug Peterson do? I'm pretty sure he's a good offensive, but like, does he have a staple offense? Like, it would be like if we're like, hey man, you gotta be worried about Kevin Stefanski. Like, we think Kevin's cool. We think Kevin's good. We not out here like Kevin. Like, we can't talk. You can't bring that up with the coach unless he Andy Reid or Kyle Shanahan, or apparently Shane Steichen, because we see what the Eagles' offense has been like, since he's left. It ain't been as good. Jalen Hurts out here arguing every play with AJ Brown, won that old thing back. Okay, like, apparently Shane knew what he was doing. But that's the serious question with the Jaguars. What do they do at a high level? Like, Trevor Lawrence is good, but like, he not high level good. He's like
top 12.
He's slightly below Justin Herbert. Now I don't even know about that one, to be honest.
I think Justin Herbert's better. For sure.
I mean, of course that. I'm saying like he's like a tier below Justin Herbert. Like you know how you could get the Corolla, and then there's the Camry, and there's like the business class, like Corolla. You know what I mean? Like,
you say Justin Herbert is a Camry?
I don't know how these things line up, but if Justin Herbert is a Prius, then if Justin Herbert is a Yaris, then my man Trevor is a Prius. You know what I mean? Like, that's I don't know how that. Yeah, it's a tail below. It's a tail. Ford Focus, Ford Fusion. You know what I mean?
I feel like we got to do QB car comparisons at some point.
we got to factor that into the schedule. But real question, hey man, are the Bengals back? But here's the thing: why we can't get carried. Why I don't think we can get carried away with the Bengals. While it's fun that they won that game, Hey,
The
dog.
rest of that
Their
schedule.
schedule is
The rest of that schedule. Yeah. Yeah.
They play all playoff teams.
Don't they have to play the Steelers twice?
No, what they already played Pittsburgh, so they got one time.
Okay.
But they play the Colts, who are in the playoffs
Ooh.
right now. They play the Vikings, who are in the playoffs right now. They play the Steelers, who are in the playoffs right now. They play the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, who are in the playoffs right now. And then they play the Browns, who are in the playoffs right now.
Those first 3 games go and dictate how them last 2 games go.
They could win 3 of them.
If they drop 2 of those 3 for those 2 of those 3 last games, like the first 3 games they got, they dropped 2 of them. You might see some guys like, yeah, dog, I don't know.
Also, one of the things you got to keep in mind, man, is different getting pumped up to play with Jake Brown and when you on Monday Night Football wearing your all white uniforms. Like, you know, you get gassed up. Hey, man, reality hit in like a motherfucker at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Okay, like...
Yeah, you get thrashed by the Colts.
It's hard for it to feel special when you looking at 6 at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Hey, Monday Night Football, easy to get juiced up for Monday. It's Monday Night Football. We got a special unis on. You know, we about to be hyped up. You know, as the kids say, the hoes are watching. Like, you know, it's easy to get pumped up. 1 o'clock on a Sunday? Hey, dog. We'll see what you can do. You can pull that upset off in those circumstances, but 1 o'clock on a Sunday is a little bit more difficult to do. Like, again, they might play well against the Chiefs. They might play well against the Pittsburgh because those are national TV games. Well, I don't know if Jamar Chase tried to go behind his back, catch a one-hand pass, 1 o'clock on the NFL Network. Like might be a factor. Might be a factor. But thought Jake Brown had played well in that game. There's nothing negative you can really say about it. You know, I think people are going to go a little bit crazy with the praise with him, which people tend to do whenever a quarterback has a good game on national TV. It's worth noting that that was the first game that they had T. Higgins back. I feel like that mattered. Also, I think the Jaguars missed a corner in that game. But you said you were more concerned about the Jaguars. Yeah. Were your concerns the same as mine, or what was your concern about them?
Hold on, what was your concern about them? Let's start with that. What was you worried about?
Oh, I said the bank activity looks a little fraudulent.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm not saying they're fraud, but I'm just saying, like, you know, they should call the number.
Just watching their team, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch the Jags a lot. I watched that game against Pittsburgh, and I watched this game.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, that offensive line, not good. Not good. Not good at all. But, you know, Trevor Lawrence is making it work. More often than not, he gets the job done. That defense, and like you said, the Bengals wide receiver trio, best wide receiver trio in the league. So they're gonna do that to teams just because they're super talented.
In real talk, Jamar Chase, best wide receiver in the league. Like, I know he ain't got the numbers. I get it. It's hard to say this when Tyreek Hill is doing his thing. But who else you know doing that shit with Jake Brown and dog? Like, he is out here carrying this man. Like, making some of the most incredible catches.
I can't say he better than Tariq.
I'll tell you this. If I only had one wide receiver on my team, I'm picking Jamar Chase. Like, hey, Tyreek's cool.
I'm taking Tariq.
I'm taking Jamar because you know what? Tyreek's a monster. Tyreek Last week we just catch it. Jamar Chase. Nobody gives your quarterback iron floor to Jamar Chase right now in the NFL. That's where I'm at with him. He's that good.
I'm interested to see what that looked like next year. With
Jamar Chase?
They just the Bengals offense in general. I'm interested to see what that looked like next year.
Because Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins gonna be out.
You saw that free agent graphic they put up during the game of all the unrestricted free agents. Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah. I'm real interested to see what that offense looks like.
Hey, look, bro, if they got Jamar Chase still, they probably gonna be all right.
Hey, man, this is my thing about them though. I feel like T kind of get lost on the sauce a little bit about how good he actually is.
No, T's really good.
It's just incredible. I think if he leave, they're gonna miss him a whole lot. If he go,
they'll miss T. But I think Jamar Chase is probably the most important piece to that engine, there.
Oh yeah,
but 100%. Yeah. I think the Bengals, I just think they got a bad draw. They lost too many games early to get away with this. They might get to 9 wins. Might. We'll see. Again, Monday Night Football is real easy to get up for that. Also, the Jaguars have a 3-4 home record.
Have they been better on the road?
These are things that don't make you confident in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, they have to have been better on the road if they're under 500 at home. They're 8-4. All 4 of their losses at home. They're undefeated on the road.
Browns giving them their first road loss.
They're 5-0 on the road, which is nuts. This is a nuts stat, right? Because they have, they won at Indy, at New Orleans, at Pittsburgh, at Houston.
It's some good wins, dog. There's some good wins on the road. I'm not gonna lie.
Texans is a good win.
Hey, Pittsburgh. Hey, beating Pittsburgh at home is an accomplishment. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
For us, Colb. The Jaguars always beat Pittsburgh.
Historically? That's how you know how to watch the Jags.
Yeah, right. The Jaguars beat Pittsburgh. Remember Blake Bortles did it to him?
Oh.
Yeah. It's not the same for them that it is for us.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a Bengal situation. You know what I mean? It's a little different for them.
Okay. They use a Bengal situation? I get you.
Yeah. They don't feel the same that we feel going into that stadium. They like them yellow seats. So yeah, we'll see. This will be the true test. The best road team in the NFL versus the best home team. Well, one of the better home teams in the NFL, the Browns this week. We'll see what that turns into. But yeah, I think Jake Browning, very interesting. We kind of spoke about this. Which team would you rather be, Colb, real quick? Would you rather be Pittsburgh or would you rather be Cleveland?
Cleveland.
Yeah,
not even as trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? We know everybody knows we Browns fans. But I think the Steelers are in a very, very, very pivotal place in their organization now. Because Kenny Pickett is not good, but he was also a first-round pick. And when quarterbacks are first-round picks, they get a little bit more leeway than other players, even if they probably should. Already fired the OC, which kind of makes me feel like they're going to bring in a new OC, see what they can get out of Kenny, and go from there.
Or are they bringing in a new OC because they don't want that next guy to be ruined?
If they're smart, that's what they'll do. But this is also the thing, though. They keep winning games. You see what I'm saying? So they're not going to have the opportunity. They may not have the opportunity to get the quarterback they actually want to get. They might genuinely be stuck. You know what I'm saying? Unless the team bails them out, which they're probably not going to do because they've been good forever. Teams might be tired of that.
As somebody who has watched the organization put themselves in QB hell, here's the thing that worries me with Pittsburgh when it comes to this. The way you stay in QB hell is if you're afraid to take risk at the quarterback position. When you're drafting quarterbacks consistently in the 20s or in the second round, third round, you're going to start 20 of them. Like, that's just how that's going to be, right? And I don't think that they're going to stick with Kenny Pickett after this year. He's a first round pick, but he's a 20th first round pick. He's not like a top 5 pick. So, like, they're not obligated to Zach Wilson this thing. And even if he was, like, they're done, right? They're going to give him a couple weeks, but I'm pretty sure they're going to draft somebody in the middle rounds this year. And that's the issue. They're good enough to be decent, but not bad enough to be bad. Exactly. And that leads to a lot of quarterbacks that you're picking late in the draft. Maybe you could trade up, but Pittsburgh's never really shown that much aggression about the quarterback position. And in order to get a quarterback, it requires aggression. Like, say what you want about the Browns. And I know people can bring up the Deshaun Watson contract, all this. Look, the Browns' issues right now have nothing to do with anything structural about the team. Like, the Browns' issues are everybody got injured. Like, that's the same issue that, like, the 49ers had the year before they went to the Super Bowl. It's like, everybody got injured the year before. We'll be healthy the next year. We'll probably be all right. Right? Like, that's something you could... The Ravens had similar issues, and when they're healthy, they're pretty all right, right? Like, it's just that. The Steelers' problems are that offense has stunk for like 5 years, 2 different coordinators, 3 different quarterbacks. It stunk. It shows no signs of changing. There seems to be no will to change the offense in Pittsburgh from Mike Tomlin. And that defense is only getting older. Like Cam Hayward's only getting older. TJ Watt's only getting older. They're already starting Pat Peterson, right? Like, yeah, you got Joey Porter Jr., but a lot of the core pieces to this defense are getting older. So, that's a concern, right? And eventually, you're not just going to be able to Tomlin your way to 500. But it's a similar problem with the Browns had. People get it wrong. The Browns were a bad team, but they never stunk enough, right? Like, that's what they didn't get right. They were always 6-10, 4-12. You know what I mean? Always the 8th pick in the draft or the 6th pick in the draft. Never like 1 or 2 until Sachi came in there and said, nah, dog, we about to go all the way. Okay. We are setting this back to, because basically in order for the Browns to even get past where they were, which was just like painfully mediocre, they had to decide to blow it all up. It basically re-expansion the team by getting 2 first overall picks in a row. Like, if you look at the Browns as an expansion team from 2017 to 2018, it starts to make sense because that's essentially what they were. They had an expansion roster. They were an expansion football team at that point. And it's been a different franchise since. Thank you for sitting on that AJ McCarron trade, dog. Like,
hey, man. Shout out, sorry. Hey, he died for our sins.
You know what I mean? We got to put a little Sachi statue in the background of the pod. But that's why I would prefer being Cleveland to Pittsburgh. Now, you know who both these teams would rather be right now? The 49ers.
Oh, man.
Ooh, they look good. Ooh, I watched them. I was like, I can't believe we beat them with PJ Walker.
Hey, dog. Every time I watch the 49ers, I'm like, how did we win that game, bro? How did we win that game?
Ooh, that defense must have been playing great.
Hey, I'm telling you, when the Browns defense plays at home, that is a different defense, dog. They played at home, so I don't know what they do.
Dog, there are 3 losses for the 49ers that make absolutely no sense, man. Like losing to the Browns with the backup quarterback on the road. They lost to the Vikings.
Like, weren't all 3 of those games in a row?
In a row, yes. Apparently, all those games did is woke up Thanos. Like they walked into Philly and beat the ever-living dog shit out of the Eagles. Like,
dog walked the Eagles.
Dog. Like, if this were college football, the Eagles would have dropped to 15. Like,
dog, I've never seen the Eagles get their ass beat like that, bro. Never seen them get their ass beat like that.
No, it was crazy. It was crazy. Like, every time you saw the highlight pop up, it's another time deal. Like, they showed the same Deebo Samuel highlight. Nah, he did it again. He did it again. He did it again. Whooping ass, dog. Like just straight beating butt.
To ass. Just straight up.
Boots to asses, dog. Like it was just a beat down. Look, they beat down the Eagles so bad, everybody forgot that we was talking shit about Brock Purdy like 3 weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody, he back in the MVP race. It's like those 3 games never happened.
He's the favorite. Dog. He is the betting favorite to win MVP right now.
No, that's a little ridiculous.
He is. Like, I'm not lying. He is the betting favorite.
I know you're telling the truth. I'm saying that being true is ridiculous. Is ridiculous. Hey, it is ridiculous.
That's how bad the ass whooping was. Hey, you know what? We should probably give him MVP.
Yeah,
hey, real quick. You see that article by the Philly Inquirer after the game?
Hey, that was nasty work.
Jalen
Hurts lost 2 games this year, dog.
Jalen Hurts is pretty good, but Brock Purdy would be a god in Philadelphia. I was like, yo.
It ain't just Cleveland, man. Would I tell you that Cleveland is just like Cleveland is a more tame version of Philadelphia? Don't you see it now? Like we do the same thing, dog.
Oh,
that Tony Grossi will write that article in a slightly different way, but it would have the same undertones. Deshaun Watson is great, but boy, if Baker worked out. Well, no, Tony ain't doing that for Baker Mayfield.
He ain't gonna do that for Baker.
He ain't gonna do that for Baker Mayfield. Well, boy, they should have drafted Josh Allen.
Hey, if Baker was here, Tony would be like, you know who the Browns need? They need a guy like Geno Smith.
Hey, man, Baker Mayfield had that man wishing for Lamar Jackson. I'm like, nah, that's crazy. Hey, I gotta give it to Tony though. The one thing about Tony, he wants you to be physically impressive. Mm-hmm. Like that's all he wants the quarterback to be. He don't care if you good or not. Like if you just walk in there, you big, he cool with it. Like he was talking all that stuff about Jacoby Brissett. Then he saw him in person. He's like, well, he's a big guy. Like
sold
immediately. I knew he was gonna be sold on Joe Flacco. He's 6'6". Like
he just looks like a franchise
dog.
QB.
He did this over Brock Osweiler. Okay, remember that?
That's he did do that. That's wild.
He's like, they're building the wall for Brock Osweiler. Look, man, he got it tight. He liked the big boys. Cam Newton, I don't think he got it tight, man. You throw a big quarterback in front of Tony Grossi, he gonna like him. I ain't never seen. They the big quarterback he didn't like.
Hey, Tony said it's better when they thick.
Stop it. No, stop. You done took it too far.
Tony said they gotta be thick. If they ain't thick, don't bring them around.
I don't know about thick, but tall. He needs tall, right? Like he needs tall. Because Baker wasn't skinny. You know, he wasn't rocking with Baker every time he talked. Remember, he got caught on camera calling him. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hey, shout out Tony Grossi, man.
Hey, man, Tony Grossi must be 6 foot. Like, there's no way he's 5'10" out here acting like this. There's no shot, dog.
Hey, Tony
got to be at least a clean 6'2". Like,
hey, Tony. Hey, to be real though, the whole Baker, the entire Baker saga. Tony was right.
He was right about the quarterback. He was wrong on all of his reasons for it because his whole reasoning was he's short. And Baker's issues were plenty. Height was like a small factor why he sucked, right? Like if Baker were 6'5", he'd still stink. Like it wasn't changing that much. His issues were that he couldn't read defenses on a regular basis and see cover 2. Like height ain't helping that. Height ain't helping that.
Hey, don't be trying to take that dub away from my dog.
Nah, man. Hey,
he was on the right side of history.
Ain't that correct? Because you know what? If you look at his report on Deshaun Watson, it's been favorable. Mm-hmm. Deshaun's a big guy. Like, it literally goes along that line. Josh Dobbs, he been on that for a while. Josh Dobbs a big guy. Hey, who he didn't like? PJ Walker, DTR. Not physically imposing. like,
Tell you, man, they gotta be.
You go. Remember he liked Thad Lewis?
He did like that, Lewis.
Yeah. What was that? Big dude. Big man Thad, right? You know who he did it like? Johnny Manziel. Now, he was right, but he didn't like Johnny Manziel. You know what I mean? You know who he wanted? Teddy Bridgewater. Look. Tony Grossi strictly believes you need to be 6'5", 230 to play.
To be fair.
Look, remember, he wanted Carson Wentz bad.
He did want Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz did win a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
No, Nick Foles won the Super Bowl.
That's true. He did.
He won MVP. Carson Wentz wasn't even dressed.
Carson Wentz got MVP though.
No, he didn't. He didn't get MVP that year. He was on track to get MVP. No.
Okay.
I'd be shocked if Carson Wentz got MVP. Ain't no way that's real.
Who got MVP that year?
I don't know. Somebody else. Hey, what year was it?
Was that 2017? Was that the AP year?
It might have been Tom.
Man, I gotta figure out who won.
I'll look it up. But yeah, I don't know how we got here.
You know how we got here.
But who's the best team in football, Cole? Let's get back on track.
Looking up whether or not Carson Wentz won an MVP.
I don't know how we got here. We need to email homie back.
Yeah, we do need to email the homie.
2015 Cam Newton.
Wait, that's
2015 Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady.
Oh, Tom won.
Yeah.
Carson must have finished this because he got hurt, right? Didn't he get hurt towards the end?
Yeah, he got hurt. Okay.
Yeah,
he was on track to win MVP.
Yeah.
And then that man's career never recovered.
It really didn't when you think about it.
No,
after the Super Bowl, it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, it never got back on track. They didn't like him. They didn't like him, and they had a reason to roll against him. And then they drafted the most likable guy of all time, and Jalen Hurts. And it was a wrap. It was a wrap.
Man, best team in football. Got to be the 49ers. There's got to be 49ers right now.
Is it crazy? Is it crazy that well, here's the thing. We always say this about these NFC teams because the records are so good. But then they play an AFC team and we're like, AFC just different.
That's true, though. The AFC is just different. It really is.
So if we're saying that, it's like, don't it got to be the Dolphins or the Ravens at this point? And I would honestly lean towards giving it to the Ravens.
It could be the Ravens.
The Dolphins just don't beat nobody good.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Dolphins. The Dolphins are, I hate to say it, but I feel like they're front runners. I really do. I feel like they're front runners. They play a good team. They play a good team. They fall apart.
Mm-hmm. But
the 49ers
I think
look good, dog. I'm not gonna.
They look good, but then they play the Browns and they lose. Or the Eagles. Even their one losses to the Jets.
The Jets.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know how to judge these NFC teams because it seems like good in the NFC is not the same as good in the AFC. Now, again, they're good teams. They're going to be like contenders and whatever. They're not like cakewalks, but it's hard to judge them and look at that record and say that's reflective when I'm like, I don't know, man. You can make the argument that Baltimore's better.
Are we disrespecting by not mentioning the Dallas Cowboys?
Look, man, the Cowboys are in that spot where they always are, where it's like, yeah, we know they good, but we not about to do anything about that till they get to an NFC championship game. Like, we just don't care. Like, it just is what it is, dog.
Are they strictly postseason? Like, strictly we got to see it in the postseason? Is that just
it's where we were at with Giannis. Remember with Giannis, where it was like, yeah, I don't care if you win the MVP again. I don't care if you win 66 games again. What have you done in the playoffs? Like, that's where they're at. Nobody cares what the Cowboys do right now. They win a game. Nobody's changed their mind on them because everything about how we judge the Cowboys is how we feel about them in the postseason.
If they beat the Eagles on Sunday, do you feel differently? Well, is Jalen Hurts even playing?
They're not gonna get swept by the Eagles. Like, the Eagles ain't gonna beat them 3 times. They're gonna beat them 2 times.
Dak
I'm-
wins MVP, if Dak wins MVP, it's not gonna move you.
Does it move you?
That's not what I asked.
It doesn't move you because I know, like, what does that have to do with anything? He's still Dak Prescott. Like, they gave Matt Ryan the MVP. Did that change anything in the Super Bowl?
I mean, it was up 28-3.
And then what happened? They falconed. Like, just say it. Just say it. That piece of paper don't change who you are. Okay. You got to show me you change. I don't care what anybody else think about that. I got to see it.
That piece of paper.
Yeah. And all I know is that if I don't care if the Cowboys can have the 1 seed, the Cowboys, Dak can have the MVP, Micah Parsons can have Defensive Player of the Year. And if they play the 49ers, I'm betting on the 49ers.
100%. 100%.
So can they even be in the conversation?
100%. 100%. I just wanted to mention them. They playing well. They playing at a high level right now.
Don't nobody care about that. Nobody care about that with the Cowboys, man. Don't nobody care. It's harsh, but it's true. Don't nobody care, man. Like, don't nobody care. They win that division. If they in the wild card, we don't care what they do. They're in that zone of like, yeah, man, do it in the playoffs. Remember how much nobody cared about the Vikings going 12-5 last year?
Oh yeah, we knew what it was.
And then they lost, and we're like, yeah, we expected that. To Daniel Jones. Okay.
God, it was Daniel Jones.
Yes. Don't nobody care. Don't nobody care about them. But you know something that you do care about, and I'm going to let Cole cook on this topic. We're going to introduce a new sport. We're going to introduce more sports to this podcast. And the Cavs are a subject that are interesting. Cole, how do you feel about this Cavs team? Now, I'll give you a little bit to go off on. I am right now wondering, is JB holding this core back, or is there really not that much to be held back? Like, is this just a 50-55 win team? At best. Like is getting rid of JB gonna change that fact? Because everybody brings up Mark Jackson, and you got rid of Mark Jackson, and all of a sudden Steve Kerr came in there and found something to do with Draymond, and it made everybody great. But people forget, they already had Stephen Clay, dog. Like, they were gonna be good. The ceiling was higher, right? Do we have a Steph? I feel like we got some Clays, but we ain't got no Stephs. Right? Like, I feel like that's the Cavs' biggest problem.
Okay. So let's get into let's start from the beginning, because there's a lot to unpack with this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And just let's preface everything I'm about to say by saying this first. I'm a fan of the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, I am.
An admitted Lakers fan.
Admitted Lakers fan. We know this. Discount everything I want to say. Discount everything I'm about to say if you want to. But I'm not lying. So let's look at it
Colts biased.
Let's look at it like this. Starting with JB, there's this really, really disappointing trope about black head coaches in the NBA and honestly in professional sports, where they take a job with a team that's bad. They're there. They turn the team around.
Oh, no. You bringing up the Brian Flores, Mike McDaniel?
They turn the team around.
The Hugh Jackson.
They get fired. And they said, we got to bring in somebody that's a little bit better with the X's and O's to get us.
You telling me we going to bring in Mike Budenholzer?
That's all I'm saying. It's unfortunate, but
that is a crazy trend.
It's unfortunate, but it's probably what's about to happen here. Like, how many games the Cavs win when JB took over for John Beeline? Wasn't it like 25 that year or something like that?
Oh my God. I forgot we hired John Beeline.
They had John Beeline. He didn't want to do the whole professional. Professional.
It was COVID too, right?
Was a little bit better, a little bit different than college. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with professional athletes.
Then he had Kevin Porter on that team too.
Yeah.
What he traded before that? Was that?
No, they had him that year. They had a bad year.
Yeah. What man got an introduction to NBA basketball?
He
Tristan
resigned.
Thompson was still on the team.
K Love was not having a good time.
Oh yeah, K Love was not messing with it.
Most depressed I've ever seen that man since he's been in Cleveland when John Beilein was coach.
And then remember how much K Love hated playing with Colin Sexton.
Oh Lord. Hey, put a pin in that because I'm gonna come back to that. Anyway, John Beilein resigns.
Mm-hmm.
JB takes over. Remember they had Andre Drummond. They had you know what I'm saying. Remember that
JaVale McGee.
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
They won like 20-something games.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, and I might be getting my years mixed up, or I might be forgetting a year. The next year, they had Darius. I'm thinking the following year was when they had Darius Collin. I think they just got Evan, if I'm not mistaken.
What? The final year?
No, the following year. After like the 21 season with Andre Drummond. They had Andre.
So 2020 pandemic season, 2021 they traded for Jared Allen in the middle of the season. Yeah. And then 2022 was the first full season with all of those guys, I believe.
2022, yeah, because the 2021 draft is when they got Evan. So 2022 is when they had Evan, Jared, Darius. Collin, Lord. They traded for Lauri Markkanen too. You know what I'm saying? So that was like his first full year as the head coach, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was his first full season as the head coach.
And they won that was the year they missed the playoffs briefly. Was by a small margin. They were in the play-in. They lost to Atlanta. They
won like 44 or 45 games. And remember that season, they were on pace to just make the playoffs outright. Everybody got hurt like that last month.
Jared Allen went down. Yeah,
after the All-Star break, Karras got hurt because remember they got Karras. He got hurt. Darius got hurt. Evan got hurt. Jared Allen got hurt. Like
everybody who could dribble and shoot got hurt, basically.
Got hurt. And they ended up falling into the play-in.
Remember Goodwin?
The Nets.
Brandon Goodwin, we was giving him quality minutes.
Yes, I do remember that. He had some good games. Anyway, they trade for Donovan Mitchell. They won 51 games last year, was it? 51?
Mm-hmm.
51 games. Made the playoffs outright. Dog walked by the Knicks.
Yeah.
Donovan didn't play particularly well. Jared Allen obviously gave the famous quote, "The lights were too bright."
Yeah, that man ain't never doing another interview again, is he?
Never.
He talks one time, it gets turned into a meme
that we will never forget. Never forget. Beautiful.
I still have not let it go because every time we play against a big post player, I'm like, where Jared Allen at? It was a rough one for the homie.
Yeah, it's a rough one for the whole team, the entire team.
He went from fan favorite to pariah. It's crazy. They was selling afros. They was selling afros, man. And now it's like, ain't no afro night. Ain't no field of fro no more. Nobody can get that shit out of my nobody can. It's crazy, dog. It's crazy.
But now we're at this season. And the feeling, at least that I get surrounding the franchise, is that this is going to be JB's last year as the head coach. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to feel like, guys may not be feeling it as much as they was feeling it prior to this. Dan Gilbert's a little bit more involved. And that may not necessarily mean that he wants to fire JB, but, he's a little bit more involved. There's real expectations for this basketball team now. And if they
My question is, where are you at with Kobe Altman? Because I can make the argument. Look, I don't think JB is a bad coach. I also don't think that JB is an especially great coach. Now, in basketball, it's a little different, but he is decidedly like an average coach to me. Like, he does some things well. I think player development, you can argue, has gone well with him. You can make the argument that he does well with good defensive coach. The vibes were fine with the team for a little while, especially after that rocky period with Beilein, but it don't seem like that's going well anymore. But that was something he could point to as something he did well. And the bigger issues with him are like, okay, he's not the most creative guy on offense. His lineups can be just god awful sometimes. Like when he starts tinkering with those lineups, I get furious.
His rotations are bad. They're bad.
His rotations are bad. His lineups are bad. All of this stuff, and that's like more of the stuff around the edges. Like I don't know if that makes you a drastically better a basketball team. Then I look at Kobe Altman. And I'm like, man, I don't know what the goal was with this roster. Now, again, to his credit, first 50-win team without LeBron since the early 90s. So we can't just act like they out here with Deion Waiters in the backcourt with Kyrie, right? Like that was different. That was a different level of bad. But I look around and I'm like, did we just build a team that can only get to 55 wins?
Right. Let me go off that real quick. Do you remember when they drafted Darius Garland? The year after they already drafted Colin Sexton. You remember what he said?
They wanted CJ and Dame.
Those Trailblazers teams with CJ and Dame
I see where you're going.
One Western Conference final.
And it was also fluke shit.
And they got destroyed by the Golden State Warriors.
Without Kevin Durant.
Destroyed. Steph killed them.
Yeah, that was Kevin didn't even play. Kevin didn't even play that one.
He didn't have to play. 4 games, got him out of here.
And I forget how the Trailblazers got there, but it was on some fluke shit.
It was a fluke. Yeah. Why would you want to build it? That's never going to get you anywhere. It wasn't going to work with Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. I'm going to be real with you. People starting to see it now. It's not going to work with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell either.
That's the thing. Well, my big thing is Donovan Mitchell can't be your best player on a championship team. He can't. I remember I brought this point up in September with you, where I was like, literally, we've seen what happens when Donovan Mitchell is your best player. It's the Utah Jazz. Like, you're just not going to be a good playoff team like that. Because the usage rate, it's the same thing with James Harden. You can't have a player with that high usage being your best player. Kobe used to say this all the time, ironically enough. But Kobe didn't have like super high usage like that. Like, he was still past, I don't know.
He had super high usage, but this is the thing. Kobe guarded people. You see what I'm saying? Kobe actually was a
6'6" defender.
He could put pressure on the rim. He could put pressure on the rim. He could guard his position.
And also, Kobe was Kobe. Right. And if you're telling me you need Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan to have a successful run, then I just don't think that's a strategy you should keep to. Right. Like, there's a reason why all the best players or best teams have 6'8" wings that are usually their best option.
And this, you heading into my point. If your two best players are 6'1", 6'2" guards, you are never going to accomplish anything in the postseason. Think about who they have to play just in their conference. The Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown is like 6'7", 6'6". Derek White is their point guard. He's like 6'5". Now, don't even get me started on Jason Tatum, who's like 6'9", 6'10". And those are people who play on the perimeter. You see what I'm saying? You got Darius Garland, who's what, 6 foot? 6'1"?
6'1.5".
Donovan Mitchell, 6'2", maybe 6'3", probably 6'2".
Yeah. 6'5" wingspan.
And Max Strus plays the 3, and he's 6'5", 6'4".
Hey, he's a hard dude because he looks 6'2", but he's definitely not 6'2". He's like 6'. He's like Josh Hart. Where you look at Josh Hart and you're like, he's not 6'6". But apparently he is.
Apparently he is. Max Strus also more athletic than I gave him credit for. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, look, the comments gonna be on your ass for that one.
Yeah. They gonna be on me. Like let's be
you thought it was all heat culture over there.
Hey, look, man. They say he was the best shooter. They say he was the best shooter available in free agency. I was like, okay, that's cool. I know he can jump like that. That's all I'm saying. I ain't see that. I ain't see that.
Making assumptions.
That's on me. That's on me. That's on me. Maybe I need to work on myself. That's fine. But back to the points that I'm trying to make. When you build a roster that is depending on two small guards to get you over the hump, two small ball dominant guards who don't really play much defense, if any. Not for lack of effort, but they're just small. There's just certain things they're not going to be able to do. And two bigs who can't shoot. It's not going to work. It's a flawed roster. It genuinely is a flawed roster. And this is what bothers me the most about Kobe Altman. He solved the problem with Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. Remember, the year they won the 44 games was also the year that Darius became an all-star. Colin got hurt like 10 games into the season. Darius was running the show the entire time. And that's when he made the all-star team. And so you saw that. And then traded Colin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen, who became an all-star the following season.
Has higher usage than
and you traded him for another small guard who is better.
Much better. Like significantly better.
Significantly better.
But the same problem fundamentally exists.
It's the same problem. A better version of the same exact problem.
All right, Colb. Here's another thing I want to add to the problem. You drafted Darius Garland in 2019. And we already talked about all the issues having two small guards and where they take you. Then you draft Isaac Okoro 5th overall the next year. Here's my issue with that pick. Isaac Okoro is only 6'5". Like, how are you have two small guards and you go with the smallest wing player you can find. Ain't like Isaac Okoro 6'5" with like a 7-foot wingspan. He's 6'5" with a 6'4" wingspan or something like that. Like, he ain't even long. He's a guard. That's the thing. I'm like, we have drafted guards. Nothing but guards, except for Evan Mobley. Nothing but guards. Just guards all over the place.
It's not gonna work.
Don't believe in wings.
It's not gonna work. And this
like our best franchise, the best player we've ever had, wing.
Like, go look at every championship team since like the 2000 Lakers. Since the 3P Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. All had wings. All had wings that are great. Every single one of them. Every single one of them.
The last wing that we had that played a regular season game for the Cavs that we drafted, true wing. And I don't even think he was a wing. You could pick which one you think's a wing. Anthony Bennett or Sergei Karasat.
Kevin Porter Jr. is a wing. He's like 6'6". He's like 6'6".
Yeah, but that was a second round pick.
Wasn't he the last pick in the first? Wasn't he the last pick in the first round?
What year was that?
Same year as Darius.
Nah, Dylan Windler was the other first round pick that year. Which
Dylan Windler's technically a wing, but he
don't play. When's the last time you seen Dylan Windler play?
What's he on right now? Is he on the Warriors?
I don't care.
Damn.
Don't nobody care what team Dylan Windler. You know, when you see Dylan Windler on national TV is when they play the who he played for game on Inside the NBA.
That's crazy. It's also crazy that you think he would make the do he play here game. He's not making that game.
Who?
He's not making that game on TNT. He's not where does he play game on TNT? They don't know who Dylan. Shaq and Chuck don't know who Dylan Windler is.
If they trying to, that's exactly right. If you trying to trip the other up, you pull the Dylan Windler card because he played for the Knicks. My man averages 2.3 minutes a game. But
on what team?
Yeah, that's my thing with the JB criticism. I don't think JB's that good, but I don't know if getting rid of JB is going to solve your problem. I feel like Kobe Altman the problem, dog. Like, I feel like it starts there because why are we such a weirdly built team? We're small and we're not even big. Like, that's it. We're small at the guards and then extremely tall in the front court, but not big in the front court. We wonder why we get bullied by the Knicks. We got a bunch of short dudes, and if you get past the short dudes, we got tall guys, but they're not big.
This is the thing, though. This is the issue with the Knicks. You got two small guards who can't guard nobody. So they get blown by, and then Evan and Jarrett got to try to cover for these small guards who get blown by,
And then nobody's there to rebound.
And Mitchell Robinson is just like, oh, nobody's here. And he gets 15 rebounds.
15 rebounds, 12 putbacks.
Like it's a flawed roster.
You can have a really good team with Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. I believe that. They're good enough. You get like the right piece around them, you can have a really good team with those two. Not this team, though.
You know what's interesting, though? Max Strus has been very, very, very good for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Very good for this team.
Yeah, you trade Donovan, put him at the 2.
This is what I'm going to say.
Get a little taller. Get a little taller.
This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say.
He can defend.
I think it's gotten to a point where, and people going to think, people will get mad or whatever, but this is just what I'm seeing when I watch them play. Darius's best games this season have been when Donovan Mitchell was not in the lineup. Denver game, he played well. The game against the Philadelphia 76ers, those are 2 games that they both won against good teams. Without Donovan, they let Darius run the show, and he played significantly better than he's been playing all season. The last game against the Detroit Pistons, which got a little scary because they was down by double digits to a team that didn't win a game in November. Did you see what happened in that second half?
They took Donovan off the floor.
They were down double digits. Donovan was playing terribly. He was the worst player on the floor in that game against a team that, again, did not win a game in November.
Mm-hmm.
JP put him on the bench. The lineup was Darius, Isaac Okoro, I believe Max Strus, George Niang, Jared Allen. They went on a run, and they were up by 10 points by the time he put Donovan back in the game later in that second half. Ended up winning the game. All I'm saying, people may think I'm crazy, people may not. I think it's gotten to a point where they need to acknowledge they got to get rid of one of them. And I'm going to be real.
It ain't
You probably want to get rid of the guy who isn't signed to a long-term extension and has been reportedly doesn't want to be there anyway. I'm saying.
Darius signed a contract with the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell never did, right? Donovan Mitchell got traded here unexpectedly, too. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think Donovan served his purpose. Right? Donovan was here to get you better last year. Yeah, to get you to playoffs, get him a taste for it. But I think Darius has outgrown him. Honestly, I think Evan Mobley's better when Darius is just in there, because Donovan doesn't have a great feel for how to get Evan the ball.
Everybody's better when Darius is running the show because Darius passes.
So what is your idea, Cavs line, with this core, right? Is Jared Allen in the core, or do you replace him with somebody else? If we're already saying Donovan Mitchell's out, how do you build around what I would believe you're saying the core is, Evan Mobley and Darius Garland? How do you build around that? And how do you build a championship team around that?
Okay, now as far as trying to build a championship team,
I think they need one more player, and that player probably needs to be the best player on the team in order to do that. I think Darius is a really good second option scoring, and I think Evan can be your second best player overall. I don't know if Evan ever develops into a consistent offensive threat, somebody who you can just rely on to get a bucket. Don't think that's coming, right? I think he's always going to be kind of streaky with it because his jumper just don't ever seem to hit right, and it don't seem like it's mechanically wrong.
In fairness to Evan, he's been taking more jumpers recently, and he's been making more. His free throw percentage is jump. It's I think he's just shooting 77% from the line after shooting 60% from the line the last 2 years. So there's some incremental progress he's making.
What the thing with Evan is it'd be like that, and we'll make these things about how he's making progress, and then he'll get cold. And then everybody else on the opposite train be like, oh, he's regressing. And then he'll get hot again. And we're like, nah, see, y'all tripping on Evan Mobley. I can't believe y'all. And then he'll get cold again. I think he's just streaky offensively.
I'll ask you a question. Is he streaky, or is it a lack of consistent opportunity to actually shoot the basketball? Because against the Pistons, he had 6 points. he took 5 shots. I just looked at the field goal attempts from everybody else.
Yeah.
Darius took like 20. Donovan took like 20. I think Max took like 15.
Oh yeah, I think that's certainly part of the problem. Like that, why he's not more consistent on offense, sure, but I think the fundamental problems still exist.
Yeah, he struggles. He struggles to create offense for himself. He does.
Yeah,
he does.
He doesn't finish well, and he has a hard time holding on to the ball through contact.
I think the finishing at the rim has gotten better. It's the trying to score when he's not getting wide open dunks or like dump off passes for like easy scores. That's what's that should be what's concerning to people a little bit.
For a guy who could dribble as well, for as tall as he is, sometimes he just doesn't look coordinated at all.
Sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, like there's something weird going on there that I just don't think is getting fixed. Like I just think that it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And what he is a really good player. But you're probably much better if like you get like an insane jump from a Brandon Ingram or something like that. Like you need something. Like you need somebody to step up and be. I don't know if you need him to be a true number 1 option, because I think Darius can be that for you, but you need a tandem offensively, right? And I think that's what they were looking for with Darius. But that tandem, I think, has to come from a Darius and a wing.
I would agree. I think this is the path forward for the Cavs. I'm gonna be honest. I think this is the path forward. You gotta trade Donovan sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
Just call it what it is. It's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Donovan it's probably better for Donovan and Darius if you just send Donovan somewhere he actually wants to be, where the fit is better on the team. You got to get a wing, and you got to get a good one. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think JB is the coach to get this team over the hump. I don't think he is, but I think the first step is to like get a roster put together a roster that actually makes sense and that can actually work like functionally with some wings, with some guys on the perimeter with some size that can guard people and hit some shots. Brandon Ingram is a guy. Everybody knows I've been trying to get Brandon Ingram on the Cavs since last year. Like I think he would be perfect. But there's some other guys and some other teams. I won't get into all the speculation about who they could try to trade for and all that other good stuff. But I do think that's the path forward. You trade Donovan Mitchell, you get some wings. If you can get some other young players or some picks, that's great too. And then you let JB ride this year out with a roster that makes sense. If he gets out coached in the playoffs again, you get rid of him. You find the guy you need. You go forward. And maybe I think the best path forward is to get rid of JB and get rid of Donovan. But we'll see what the Cavs end up doing. But I personally think that's the path forward for them.
Speaking of the path forward, a lot of controversy about the college football playoff. Now, look, I'm not going to pretend as if I watch enough Florida State football or I watch enough Georgia SEC games. Like I watch the big ones, right? Like, so I'm not about to tell you who should be or should not be in the college football playoff. I'm not very interested in that conversation. My question is, should it even exist? Because it's been brought up to me. And look, it's not an argument that I thought was a good one when I first heard it, but then I was listening to it and I was like, you know what? They might have a point. Are we sure that this is a better system than bowls? Because say what you want about bowls and say what you want about not crowning a definitive champion. When it was just bowls before the BCS, right? Before you even had a national championship game, when it was just Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, you had shit that people look forward to. A lot of people look forward to. Winning the Rose Bowl meant something. Like winning the Sugar Bowl meant something. Now, we got dudes sitting out against Missouri. Like who the Buckeyes play in Missouri? Mizzou?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know.
It doesn't even matter anymore. Right? Like it means we just have content. Like that's all the college football postseason. It's just content. It used to be much more than that. It used to be much more exciting than that before you introduced the playoff. Now, look, once you introduced the BCS national championship game, it only became inevitable that you're going to have a playoff. And then once you introduce a playoff, it only became inevitable that playoff is going to expand. And once you start expanding the playoffs, you're only going to add more and more teams. My big thing is you can't have both. Either you have a playoff or you have bowls, but have you just give it a real thought. Do you think this system is better than what we had before? Because it was like, hey, man, we used to only do this debate one time. Now we do this debate like 8 times a year, and it's exhausting. I don't even want to watch it anymore after this. Hear people like you used to only hear Florida State cry after they won their bowl game and somebody didn't put them at number 1. It's like, okay, they didn't win the national championship or they weren't crowned the national champion. They still had a good season. They're not bitching and moaning, crying, not sending their guys pros. Like, it just seems like this is just more trouble than it's worth. Like, I just prefer watching the Rose Bowl.
I don't know, man. I like the playoff a lot. Like, I really do.
Here's the thing with the playoff, though. Here's the thing. There's usually, out of it, you get 3 games. One of those games are entertaining. Now, it's not usually like the same game that's entertaining, but of those 3 games that you get from the playoff, you probably get one entertaining game.
You might get 2.
Now, you got one last year, right? Like, most of the time, it's like, okay, the team that eventually wins plays a real good team, and that you get that close game like Ohio State, Georgia, and then Georgia completely demolishes TCU.
TCU versus Michigan was fun.
Only because Michigan was losing.
Like, yeah, it was fun. It was fun for me. It was fun for me.
It wasn't a fun game to watch. Don't nobody remember nothing from that game.
I had a phenomenal time watching that game.
Yeah. Because you don't like Michigan.
I'm gonna have a phenomenal time watching them play Georgia too. Mm-hmm. I mean Alabama too.
But you probably could have got that same game if Michigan played TCU in the Rose Bowl.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't be missing out. And that's the question. Is like, do we really need this bracket, man? Like, do we really need this playoff? Because the more you add to the playoffs, the more you do it, the more debate's going to be about the playoffs. And how many more games we going to ask these kids to play for free? It's also like another one. We talk about what, 16 teams? That might be 3 extra free games that these dudes are playing. They already playing 12 of them for free. At the FCS, if you aren't a seeded team, you play a 16 game schedule. And it's for free at the FCS. Ain't no NIL. Okay, like, it's for free. And I don't know. I just feel like the playoff is good for the teams at the absolute top. But anybody that's not even the best 3 teams in the conference, this don't do nothing for you. This honestly does less for you. Like, Iowa probably had more fun when we was just doing bowls.
Probably.
But now that you got this playoff, don't nobody care about these bowls that you're playing in. You can't get nobody excited about it. And all your best players just transfer out. I used to be a playoff extremist where I was like, we need 24 teams. I'm looking at this now like, dog, I feel like we broke it. I feel like we broke it.
Florida State not getting in, did it? Like, it killed it for
No, I don't even care about Florida State not getting in. I don't think they should have gotten in. If you have a 14 playoff, they weren't one of the best 4 teams in the country. It sucks. It's not fair. But if you're not gonna have a big ass playoff and you can't determine these things on the field, then that's just going to be what it's going to have to be. It wasn't Florida State. It was all the bitching and moaning and arguing that people were doing about Florida State not getting in and all these like hot takes I got to watch. And I'm like, oh, they got us. This shit ain't for us. This shit is so they can make more content. They done got us, dog. All these debates, 4-hour selection shows, this shit ain't got nothing to do with football and finding the champion code.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Everything to do.
I'm not gonna lie. Did you see the reaction video from Michigan when Alabama made that, when Alabama got in? Did you see it?
Because they knew what it was. They knew what it was.
That moment alone made it all worth it for me. I was like, you know what? This is good. This is good. That's what we need.
I feel like the more I think about it, feel like We are trying to, like, I feel like everything that we do with the playoffs is to make it feel like the old bowl system. Like, we want to add more teams. Why? So that more things matter.
Hey, Q. They saw Alabama get in. The whole room was like, oh.
Because they was hoping for Florida State. They know they're not good.
You know, the whole room was like, oh, shit. Oh, they know they about to get their ass beat.
let me tell Michigan fans something. Florida State wasn't losing to them.
Hey, Alabama about to beat the shit out of them. You get pissed off, Nick. Get pissed off, Nick Saban. A whole month.
And let me tell you, Jalen Milrose looked a lot better.
Oh,
He's
man.
looked pretty good.
That
it's funny too.
Line and offensive line about to beat the shit out of them all.
But back to the main point about the college football playoff.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. That shit was hilarious.
Back to the main point. I feel like everything we do with the college football playoff is to make it feel like the bowl season that we used to have, where it's like, oh man, we want more games that matter. We want people to actually, it's like we had that with the bowls, with the bowl games. We had that. We had like 12 bowls that mattered. Now we try to replicate that same thing with the playoffs, and all we gonna get is more complaining. Every time there's a blowout, what was this team in? We shouldn't have AQ. Like, it's gonna be the same bullshit next year. Somebody's gonna be arguing about some placement. You know what we're gonna be arguing about, Cole? It's not gonna be who gets in the playoffs. It's who gets what in the first round. Or who got the automatic buys. Don't none of this shit sound fun to me anymore. Like, maybe I'm just turned off by it, but it's just like, I don't know. And look, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't really root for any FBS school. So maybe my perspective is different of this than like somebody who roots for Michigan or roots for Ohio State. I just kind of want to watch an interesting product. And I feel like giving all the power in what teams matter and what games matter to the committee, I think that was a mistake. I think it's proven to be a mistake. And all we're doing right now is doubling down on their power. And I don't know if that's what's best for college football. I really don't know if this is the right direction for them. Like, it seems like a lot of people are starting to get legitimately turned off by college football that weren't before.
I think FSU I feel like FSU not getting in was like the final straw for a lot of people, because it became at that point, I was like, okay, so like a team goes undefeated in a Power 5 conference. And this, I believe this is the first time that a team had done that, won their conference championship game, was undefeated, and didn't get in. So a lot of people are like, okay, if a team can do all of that and still not get in, what is the point of all of this? Like legitimately, like what is the point of all this? If we can meet every prior requirement to qualify for the college football playoff, we did that, and y'all put Nick Saban and Alabama in anyway. You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all just like, you know what? You know, forget all that. We putting in Alabama because we just think they're a better team than you. What is the point? Like, I understand why I understand why FSU fans and the team and everybody surrounding the program was just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what like our season just don't mean nothing. We got to play Georgia in the whatever bowl is going to be. And I think they think that expanding the playoff is going to fix this issue. But instead of arguing about 5 and 6, who was supposed to get in, who wasn't, we're just going to be doing it with 13 and 14. If it's 12 teams, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just going to keep.
Well, I don't know if we're going to really be that invested, because then you're talking about 13 and 14. Like, nobody's going to care about, oh, does South Carolina get in or does Tennessee get in? Like, we ain't going to have this level of debate about that.
You say that, but I know that we will.
I don't think anybody will care. It's gonna be about like, oh look, they're giving Alabama the easy bracket because like I as somebody who's been in this FCS playoff grind as a fan of an FCS school, I know the arguments that happen on that small scale. Oh, they're giving North Dakota State the easy bracket, which turns into, oh, you see, it's bias. They're making Alabama gets to play the Power Five, the Group of Five champion in the first round. It's rigged. This and that. We're gonna be arguing about brackets and where teams fall in the brackets and how it's not fair and how the bracket selection feels arbitrary and all this other bullshit. And also, when are they scheduling these games? Like, it's probably gonna be something like the NCAA and College Football Playoff Committee has not demonstrated to me that they are competent enough to do these things correctly. They have not done a single thing. Like, it started off with a good idea. Let's have a playoff. They found a way to fuck that up. Like, they have found a way to fuck that up. They're gonna find a way to fuck this extended playoff thing up. And I just think in like 20 years, we're gonna ask ourselves, why did we go away from bowls, dog? Like, did we really need a true national champion? Like, what has this actually done for the sport? Because I think you're getting more people from other fan bases that used to be thriving to just tune out completely from college football. Like, for the Georgia fans, for the Alabama fans, for the Ohio State fans, for the not even Clemson fans anymore. For the Texas fans, and Michigan know what it is in the playoffs. They're not like a real contender, right? Like, I'm talking about teams that win playoff games. So like those three teams, those are the three teams that win playoff games. Am I lying? LSU. Like there have been 4 teams that win playoff games.
There was a tweet I saw that said the only teams you ever take serious in the college football playoffs are teams from the South, with the one exception being Ohio State. Outside of that,
nobody cares. Nobody cares the TCU. Nobody cares the TCU gets in. It's like whoever wins the SEC, whoever gets in the second place in the SEC, Ohio State. That's who you worry about. And then whenever Clemson was going, Clemson. But that's it. That's legitimately it. I think Washington is going to end up being on that list, by the way. I think Washington's the best team in the country. But
ooh, you think Washington can do it?
Yeah, I think Washington. I think they're clearly better than Michigan. I think they're best team in the country.
Oh, I think every team's better than. I think every team that made the playoff is better than Michigan.
I think they're better than Texas.
I think Georgia's better than Michigan too. To be 100% honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I think Washington's probably the best team in the country. They have a good quarterback, really good defense, solid offensive pieces. They've been, and it's not like this is like a team that got good out of nowhere. They've been pretty good for a little while. Right. Like they pushed Ohio State to the limit in the Rose Bowl. They got to the playoff in 2019. Shout out Jake Browning, who we mentioned earlier in this video. They've been a good school for a while. And I think this is just them starting to get to their peak. And they're going to probably be a real threat in the Big Ten because there's not that many other teams in the Big Ten. Like Penn State's super fraudulent.
Let's be honest. The Big Ten has 2.5 good teams.
Yeah,
like they have 2.5 good teams. It's Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State's around there somewhere, and then
Ohio State, Michigan, like whoever the other team is, like whoever the 15th ranked team in the country in the Big Ten is. That's usually who it is, right? But that Big Ten championship ain't been interesting in decades, since they started having it. Like when had the West ever won the Big Ten championship?
It's literally been either Ohio State or Michigan. That's it.
No. Michigan State won it the one time.
I'm about to say a different team every now and then.
But it's always out the East. It's never out the West. Yeah.
It's never out the West.
So it's like that whole division doesn't matter. But now that's going to get a lot more interesting. But yeah, I think Washington's the best team. Look at the resume. I think getting out the Pac-12 undefeated is crazy. It's extremely impressive.
Crazy.
That there's no conference that's been as good top to bottom as the Pac-12. Like, there's a reason why Dion's all happy about winning 4 games in that conference, dog. Like, once that Pac-12 schedule started to hit, he knew what it was. And it's a reason why Colorado's going to the Big 12. Like, they was not trying to see if they could get into the Big 10 with the rest of the Pac-12 teams.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So Pac-12, really good this year. They went undefeated. super battle tested. Pac-12 always like kills each other. They survive that. They're the best team in the country. They're going to get there, and I think they're going to win the national championship this year. I don't think Michigan is a threat. And Alabama still had them same problems we was talking about with Alabama. And the thing is that Georgia just wasn't that good of a Georgia team this year. Like, if you've watched them, you've been like, hey, man, they can get got. They look tired, right? They look tired, and they aren't as talented as they were last year. There's no Jalen Carter. There's no Jordan Davis. That's a different Georgia team. So, you know, they got Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers is hurt. And it's bad when they was down to Brock Bowers, Carson Beck, and Lab McCorkadoodle, or whatever the hell his name is. Like, and they was like, yeah, look.
I know that's not his name.
McCorky. It's a dog name. He got a dog name.
You definitely just threw. I feel like you just took the first half of his name and just mixed in doodle.
His name is Lab, dog. Lab McCorky.
Lab McCorky?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Or at least what it sounds like every time I hear it on CBS. Let me look it up.
I'm about to say, look this up. We need to know now.
Yeah, Lad McCorky. Lad McConkey. Lad McConkey.
See, you just wanted to mix the dog name in there. That's what you wanted to do.
Okay, let me tell you something. Lad McConkey, much worse. There's no shot that he's not from Georgia. Okay.
Oh yeah, 100% from the South. So 100% from the South. 100%.
Yeah, but they don't have outside of Brock Bowers, Georgia don't got them top 5 draft picks like they used to. Like, it just is what it is with them. So I don't think Alabama kind of just has their number. No, I mean, like, yeah, Nick Saban's cool, but I think that Washington's just as well coached, more battle tested, and just better.
Nah, give me Bama.
You going off brand strain? See,
I am going off brand strain. Give me Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Are we disrespecting Texas?
Man, Texas is like the Cowboys to me. Yeah,
wow.
I believe it when I see it.
Wow. You just hating on the whole state. You're just hating on the whole state, huh?
I like Houston. I have no problem with Houston. You know what I mean? I no issue with them. But I'm not hating. Come on, man. We've been here with Texas. Every time we like, Texas is back. Texas coming back. What happened?
They never made the playoff, though. They made the playoff this year.
Yeah, that's cool. Michigan made the playoff for the first time after being, man, you know how Michigan going to be. And then what happened to Michigan? They are Michigan South. They are Michigan South. Are they not? Are they not Michigan South?
Oh, man, you say they about to get dog walked by Washington?
I don't know, but like they probably about to do the same thing Michigan would do when they play Washington.
Get dog walked?
They the same team. They've been the same program as Michigan. Oh, yeah, this the year the Big Blue coming back. This the year the Big Orange coming back. Oh, man, they got this and that. They had Bijan and Roshan last year. They won 8 games. Like, every year, dog, they do this. They are, even when they do it, they don't do it. And I'm just saying, if you got no faith in Michigan because they proven themselves to be unserious in these moments, I don't know how you can look at Texas and be like, yeah, but they back though.
It's their first time. It's their first time. We don't know yet. Give me Washington though.
Yeah, okay. It's not Washington's first time. It might be their first time. Whoever wins this one, it will be their first playoff win. So at least you get that.
Oh yeah, give me Washington. 100%.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Michigan will have to wait another year, bro. It's not even crazy that Michigan could beat Alabama. Alabama's not that good, dog. Like, it's just nobody trusts Michigan. Like, not even Michigan fans.
The team don't trust, bro. You heard how they reacted. They don't trust themselves.
That was the team? I just thought that was like an alumni dinner.
No, that was the team gasping like that. They know exactly what about to happen.
That's hilarious.
They was praying they got FSU. No, sir.
Hey, man, they praying for frauds. That's crazy. That's crazy.
you get Nick Saban, angry Nick Saban
Like
too.
they are fully healthy, undefeated, and they not like, hey man, let's bring them all.
They was like, shit.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, they was like, oh man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh,
We'll see.
man.
We'll see. I hope they fix the playoff so we can stop arguing about if the playoff is correct or if this is the right way to go about it. Like, I'm just tired of all these debates. Like, that's all college football is to me. And I think that's my issue with it. It's all debates. It ain't nothing about the game. It's like, should the transfer portal have 6,000 people in it? Should teams be realigning? Should there be a playoff? Should the playoffs be expanded? We don't ever just talk about the fucking games. We got to talk about the infrastructure around the games. Is NIL a big problem for college football? Is college football fair? It's like, bruh, it's like, imagine if you were trying to watch the NFL and you got to argue about the structure of the NFL. Should the NFL have divisions? Should it just be like, it's not fun when you have, like, when you're arguing about that kind of stuff. It's not. Remember we was doing this with the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't fun to watch the NBA in like 2017. Like, because it's like two good teams. They got to fix the structure of this. The infrastructure is cooked with college football. It sucks. It's terrible. All we ever do is argue about shit with college football. It's just a nonstop argument. It's nonstop debates. When's the last time you just strictly talked about college football and didn't have to debate none of the other shit that surrounds college football?
Never.
It ain't never like, man, I can't wait. Who do you think? Ray Phoenix versus this pass rusher? No, it's always, well, should Washington have been the one? It's just cooked, dog. Like, it's all, I hate it. I hate it. It has made me barely want to watch the football. And I watch the XFL for fun. Like, you ain't got to do that much, dog. Like, you ain't got to do that much for me to watch some football. I've watched high school games this year. Not like high schools I went to. It was just like on Georgia Public Access. I was like, oh, they got football on. I'm watching. That's how much I watch football, Cole.
That's crazy. I did watch
college football. Huh?
I watched St. Ed's in the national championship. I watched that, but
national
outside of that, I mean, state championship. Sorry, Division I state championships. Usually we talk about college. I got
state championships. Y'all got to win to like even like it's just bragging about shit at this point. It's not impressive when St. Ed's does anything impressive in football anymore.
It's very impressive. It's very. No,
impressive. It's not. It's not. Yes, y'all just buy out all the talent. You know,
the
standard,
NIL the standard. The standard is the standard.
The standard is the standard. It's the standard. The standard out here making all the players, or did you gain a lot of new people in your high school your junior year?
Listen. You sound like a hater. Hey, you asked me crazy questions.
I'm just asking the question, Cole. Were the people you went to middle school with the same people you went to high school with?
You know what? I don't feel the need to answer
that. I wonder. What's going on there? What's going on there? You know what I mean?
All I can say is that we are following all rules that are currently in place.
I'll just say, how does somebody go to Gwinnett Kennedy and play for St. Edwards? It don't make no sense to me. check them addresses. I guess private school. You get to cheat. You're private school, yeah, buddy. But Brian Hoyer is Ignatius, right?
Yep.
Who's your best player to come out of St. Ed's?
Man, I gotta think.
Y'all get washed by Ignatius in that area, huh?
And yeah, who's the D tackle for who's I think he's the Seahawks now? Is that where he went, or did he go to the 49ers?
You talking about Frank Clark?
No. He went to Ignatius. He just signed this offseason. The Browns were trying to get him, but he signed somewhere else. I forget what his name is. I can't remember if he signed with the 49ers or the Seahawks or something.
No, I can't remember.
But he went to Ignatius. I can't. Best St. Ed's player in the league.
Anthony Gonzalez.
I'd actually have to look that up. I don't know off the top of my head.
Getting washed by your rival. Honestly, Glenville puts more impressive pro football players out than St. Edwards.
Than both.
Yeah.
Them both. To be honest with you.
Coach Gann. It is incredible how many players have come out of Glenville, dog.
Yeah, for real.
And they just won their first state championship like a year ago or something like that. It's incredible. They weren't even good when they had Troy Smith.
Salute to Glenville, dog. Salute to Glenville.
They were good when they had him. How did they not win the state championship? Ohio State won almost won a national championship with the Glenville roster that they had in high school. Were they just not eligible?
I know. I honestly, dog, I don't know. But salute to the Ohio State pipeline, Glenville.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be the OSU pipeline in Cleveland.
Yeah, you know what? You know who took it? Michigan took that pipeline, and guess what? Y'all ain't beat them since. Jim Harbaugh out there at EC, out here doing the recruiting.
Ryan Day got a
Ryan Day don't strike me as that type of feller. Ryan Day ain't walking in there.
Ryan Day he gotta go back to the roots. Herb would have came down here.
Herb would have sent somebody to come down here. Herb ain't coming down here. Come on. Come on.
His face.
Herb got shooters. Okay. We know his tape from Florida. Herb got shooters.
You saying Big Herb not good over here?
Big Herb know people who good over here, but Herb ain't the one that's coming. Come on. You ever see him here? You know who was coming? Jim Tressel. 5'9". Jim Tressel out here in the sweater vest, pulling up in the Buick at your grandmama house. Talk about, son, I got a nice program for you at the Ohio State University. Hey,
Big Tress.
Hey, Tress used to not when Tress was president at YSU, he did that for academic recruits. Let me tell you. Tress just loved the grind, dog.
Need to bring him back. Low key.
Tress loved the grind, dog. I
don't think Ryan Day loved the grind like that. I don't feel like that. He don't love the
Ryan
grind
Day
like
loved the paycheck. As Ryan Day would be perfect at Texas A&M. Look. No, not even Texas A&M. You know what would be the perfect job for him? Florida. They ain't got no, Florida, what's the school that ain't got no expectations for real? That's still good.
Oh, that's still good.
They still got money. Because what? Oklahoma, you get fired. Texas, he get fired. You get fired so fast at Texas. Like South Carolina.
Yeah, I can see him.
Arkansas. You know,
I was gonna say Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know if they had money.
Mizzou.
I don't think he'd last in Mizzou.
Let's see. Where else could he go? Oregon don't really fire. Nah, they Jimmy Haslam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They fire dudes over there in Tennessee. They still think they should be Tennessee over there. Like Penn State. You know what I mean? Penn State, Michigan State. Look, that's the finesse job. Shout out to the homie from Oregon State who figured out that lick. You get Michigan State, win 10 games one time. They ain't never going to bother you. Iowa's another one. Win 10 games one time at Iowa. Ain't nobody going to say shit to you. You know what I mean?
I saw a stat that said Iowa got more punting yards than offensive yards this year.
And Kurt Ferentz' seat ain't even remotely warm.
They won 10 games.
Look, I know who's not looking forward to USC, Washington, and Oregon joining the Big Ten. I know who voted no on that. Iowa. Okay. Because they going to be the ones that have to play them. Ohio State going to play them once every 4 years. They're not going to see them very often. But you know who going to have to see them every year? Iowa. Why? You're the closest team to them. Iowa, Nebraska, your free ride has ended. And it's crazy because Nebraska didn't even do shit with their free ride.
man, they should have went to the Big 12 or something. That's over with. It's over with.
They were in the Big 12. Like,
you should have went back. I was like, oh no, we need to get out of here.
Y'all don't need Arizona. But why Iowa? Like, Iowa's just in here because they've been here for a while. Like, there are some teams in the Big Ten that just been here for a minute. And that's the only reason they're allowed to stay in the Big Ten. Is because they've been here for a minute. And some teams are staying just because, well, we just added you. Rutgers. Like, Rutgers has no business being in the Big Ten. Maryland. Hey, man, at least we can hoop. At least we can hoop. Right? Like, that's what they're holding on to. But they don't belong in the Big Ten. Let's keep it a buck. What's the last time you really thought about Illinois?
This past NFL draft, because they had a bunch of players get picked high.
And they didn't do anything. All the players from Illinois got picked. You forgot they went in the top 10. He's like, oh shit, Illinois had draft picks like that. They wasn't good.
They had a couple high picks. They gonna have one again. Johnny Newton or just Jerzon Newton or however you say his first name.
And let me tell you, transfer portal about to fuck them up, dog. Northwestern feels more relevant than them.
Hey, Ryan Day need to go steal some of them Illinois players.
That's what I'm saying. Ryan Day needs to go to Northwestern.
Start taking some players, dog. Start taking some players. They got some over there.
Yeah, Ryan Day needs to get a different job. But it's the Big Ten is what, like, you look at these conferences, man, when they gonna start trimming fat? If they decide we gonna do a Power 5 thing, they start cutting fat. Let me tell you, man, it's gonna be some teams that don't make it. It's gonna be some conferences that don't make it. Ain't nobody in the ACC making it other than Florida State. Maybe Miami off GP. Maybe Clemson off GP.
Miami and Clemson will make it. They'll make
Miami, Clemson, Florida State. Who else you keeping? We gonna have 3 different subsections of Division I football. 4. We gonna have the best schools, like the best 30 schools in like 10 years that are all in one subsection. Then we gonna have the ain't that bad schools, that's gonna be the Big Ten and the ACC. And then you gonna have the Group of 5, and then you gonna have the FCS. It's too many, dog. Too many. It's too many playoffs to follow. It's gonna be too many postseasons. It's gonna be too much. Too many people trying to be big time. We're going to end up with the same shit. It's going to be NFL Junior.
And you know what? We going to love it. You hate it now, but you'll love it when it happens.
All right. I'm just going to say the first time you hear that Washington has traded a recruit exception, a future recruit in 2027, and $3 million and a guard for a quarterback, you're gonna lose your mind. All right, like
you're right. I am gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna be like, terrible value.
I can't do this 2 times a week, dog. I can't do the NFL 2 times a week. I can only deal with the NFL but 1 time a week. I can't do this twice. Like, nah. At that point, I'll be like, hey, man, if it's a good game, I might catch it on the TV, but I'm not about to be invested. Absolutely.
I can't wait to be like, why would Ohio State make a trade with Michigan? I can't wait. Cannot wait.
Man. But that's gonna be it for QnColb, y'all. Y'all have a great.
We're not doing the Browns and Jags preview. We're not doing that.
Bro, I'm 30 minutes late to this meeting. We cannot do this. No, we'll preview the game on Twitter or something else. We'll figure it out. But I'm 30 minutes. This man is waiting on me.
Oh man!
Y'all have a great day. Shout out to everybody, man. We're not gonna get all the shout outs in because we got to get up out of here. But y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.